We're live. Okay, so if you didn't hear the news from earlier today, Liverpool and Man City had a 1-1 draw. And apparently, there's like some controversial no penalty call at the end of the game. I don't really pay attention, so I don't really know what happened. But this guy who I follow on Twitter, DY Cliff, maybe his name's like Dylan Cliff or something. I don't know, but anyways, I follow him. He said Man City got their 119th draw in the Premier League. And I had to verify that because I wasn't sure. So this website here is called Transfer Market, and you can find out. It's like the Stat Muse or the M Cubed for soccer. And I went and made sure this is all of Man City's records against all the Premier League teams. And I won't do it for you now. I already did it, but I did confirm that all these draws here add up to 119, as you see there. And just to confirm that it has accounted for the game against Liverpool this morning. Results since 23-24. Where is it? Yeah, that was their second game against Liverpool this year. So yes, this is correct. It was their 119th draw ever in the Premier League. And why is that significant? Because today, March 10th, you see here, March 10th, today is Osama bin Laden's birthday. And Osama bin Laden is known as the mastermind, or the alleged mastermind behind 9/11, which is written as 11/9 in much of the world. And if you've watched any of my last couple of videos, you know that I've thought that teams like Arsenal, who I'm going to talk about a little bit more in this live stream, as well as Bayern Munich, have good riddles to make the Champions League final, which is in London in June. And I do want to play a clip.
111 years.
I do want to play a clip from my video that I did on the Rangers because I did talk about Arsenal a little bit. And I just want to play that part.
Bin Laden's favorite sports team was Arsenal, which equals 119. I initially had a big section of this video talking about the Gunners, but decided that it was too big and it will be a video on its own in the future.
And yes, that I did write a script for that. That's something I'll work on later. And actually, I might even talk a little bit about it in this live stream today.
Arsenal FC equals 56, and the current manager, Mikel Arteta, was born on the 26th of March, written 26/3 over there, which is the 56th prime. Arsenal Football Club also equals 322. This year is the 32nd Premier League season, and Arsenal's 107th in the top flight, like Rangers equals 107. They lost to West Ham in the League Cup 1-3, just hours before the Rangers won the World Series 4-1, and 41 is the 13th prime. There is a Scottish soccer team called Rangers, and they won 5-0 over Dundee earlier in the day on November 1st before the Texas Rangers won their game by the same score. Dundee equals 26, 109, and 28. Like how the Diamondbacks stayed on 26 all-time wins against the Rangers, picked up their 29th playoff loss as 109's the 29th prime, and stayed on 28 playoff wins. Arsenal is back in Champions League this year, the 69th edition of the tournament. Remember, Osama was born on the 69th day of the year. The final will be played at Wembley Stadium 67 days after Mikel Arteta's birthday. This will also be 83 days, or 11 weeks and 6 days, after what would be Osama's 67th birthday, and football equals 83. Something to think about 6 months from now.
Okay, well now it's less than 3 months from now, but anyways, so today's the 70th day of the year because it's the 70th day of the year because this year's a leap year. So yesterday was the 69th day of the year. And yesterday, Arsenal beat Brentford, who's a team that's located, if you look on a map here, this is where Brentford is. That's where Wembley Stadium is. I mean, they're not that far. Well, that's funny. There's a Gunnersbury Park next to Brentford, and Arsenal is known as the Gunners, so not sure exactly where Brentford Stadium is. Is it that? Might be that. Yeah, so, whoops. I mean, we're looking at 5 miles, less than 5 miles from Wembley to Brentford. I mean, from where Arsenal is over in Highbury, it's a little bit longer. I mean, it's not telling me the distance, but you get the point. It's not. Brentford's over there in West London. There's Wembley. Yeah, so I mean they're both pretty close, but Brentford's closer. And yesterday was the 70th day. No, sorry, yesterday was the 69th day of the year, and Arsenal beat Brentford 2-1. Game-winning goal scored by Kai Havertz, the German, in the 86th minute. Now, what's interesting about it was the 86th minute is
add more joy to your journey at the Hyundai.
in soccer because the goals are counted by the minutes, like how we're in the 21st century right now, not in the 20th century. And if you'll see here, let me just fast forward just a tiny bit. You'll see when this goal goes in, there's the goal. So it's counted as the 86th minute, but there's 85 minutes on the clock. And oh darn, I have to change the date. But okay. From yesterday until the Champions League final is a span. Well, that's interesting that it's 2 months, 23 days. That's interesting. The Skull and Crossbones 223. But it was a span of 85 days. Kai Havertz scored the game-winning goal with 85 minutes on the clock. And Wembley, where the Champions League final is going to be held, equals 85. As I said, it's the 32nd Premier League season. And there's another thing about it. Yeah, that's right. It was Arsenal's. Yeah, it's their 30. It's the Premier League's 32nd season since they had that divorce with the FA back in the early 90s. And Arsenal is very connected to 9/11, as I mentioned in that video, because they're Osama bin Laden's favorite team, and just simply Arsenal is 119, and Arsenal's real name, and I'll just show you here. Arsenal's real name is the Arsenal Football Club. The Arsenal Football Club is 127, like how buildings 1, 2, and 7 came down on 9/11. Yeah, I don't think Osama bin Laden had a choice when deciding who his favorite soccer or football team was going to be. And they back in 2001, or actually the 2001-2002 season, Arsenal won the Premier League and the FA Cup. So they won the double. That's what it's called. And what was I going to do? Oh, that's right. So they won the Premier League title that year on this day right here, May 8th. 5-8. The game-winning goal scored by Sylvain Wiltord in the 57th minute. That means there's 56 minutes on the clock when he scored. And we know 56 was a big number on 9/11 because the 3 planes that hit buildings add up to 263, the 56th prime. And the significance of 57 is that I can't remember. Maybe I can't remember right now what the significance of 57 was. But also, if you look at that date, so that was on 5/8/2002. So we'll do this from, whoops. So that was 239 days, and that's the 52nd prime number. 239, 52nd prime. Terrorist is 52. And we know also 52 was a huge number with the Rangers, who Arsenal are connected. Arsenal's definitely connected to them this year, and 52 is a big number with the Rangers this year because it's their 52nd season in Texas. And the guy's name who scored, Sylvain Wiltord, 68. Like how World Trade Center was. Oh, I remember. Okay, sorry, I was blanking on the 57 thing. I forgot that Osama bin Laden was born in 57. That's what it was. I'm sorry. Yeah, Osama bin Laden born in 57, and then the Premier League clinching goal scored in the 57th minute by Sylvain Wiltord, whose name equals 68, meaning then and there were 56 minutes on the clock, and it was 239 days after 9/11, 52nd prime, terrorist 52. Yeah, how old was Sylvain Wiltord then? See, so he would have been 74 minus, would have been just before his 28th birthday. Is that right? Yeah, he would have been 27 just before his 28th birthday. It's probably something with 107 that I can't think of. Oh, because Osama bin Laden's birthday is 10/3. Yeah, Osama bin Laden's birthday 10/3. 103 is the 27th prime, and he was still 27 years old, just 2 days before he turned 28 when he scored that game-winning goal. And the other symbolic thing about this year, so they won the Premier League and FA Cup, so that's known as the double. And the FA Cup that year was actually the FA Cup final and semifinals every year played at Wembley Stadium. But that year they'd just torn down the old Wembley Stadium. As we can see here, if we look at the 2002 FA Cup final, is it going to say anything about Wembley? We have to go back to the. Okay, yeah. So that one was also. Okay, so it wasn't that. I'd have to find out when was the old Wembley torn down? Because this is something that Rambo has talked about. You see there's those two pillars, kind of symbolic of the Twin Towers. They were torn down on the old Wembley Stadium. And then Arsenal wins the Premier League and FA Cup, the double, in the season following 9/11. And that was Osama bin Laden's favorite team. Does it say when? Does it say when it was officially torn down? Demolition occurred in 2002. Okay, so yeah, they hadn't quite been torn down yet, but it was right around that time. It was kind of symbolic, and yeah, Arsenal didn't even is like right is less than a year after Arsenal won the Premier League and FA Cup that the kind of the twin pillars of the old Wembley Stadium were torn down. Yeah, and they even call it the Twin Towers of Wembley Stadium. It's a mockery right there. Okay, what else? Let me go back and look at my notes, see if there's anything about. Okay, yeah, there's one other thing with Arsenal and 9/11. They actually played a game on 9/11. They played a Champions League game on 9/11. Here you go, September 11, 2001 against Mallorca. And they lost because Ashley Cole got a red card in the 11th minute. Like how this game here ended 1-1. I'm going to talk about 11 more in this video. 9/11 was on the 11th with the Twin Towers coming down that looked like an 11. The first flight to hit the towers was flight 11. And anyways, Ashley Cole, red card in the 11th minute. And that's how Mallorca scored the only goal of the game. And let's look at Ashley Cole for a second. And Ashley Cole, even though that was a Champions League game, he played in 156 games with Arsenal, or I should say 156 Premier League games with Arsenal. And that's just even more mockery because, in case you didn't know, 9/11 is the 156th prime. I mean, I just wonder if it was scripted for Ashley Cole to play in 156 games, like even before this, because he'd only played like would have only played around 20 Premier League games at that point with Arsenal, and then they said, oh, we're gonna have this guy get a red card in the 11th minute on 9/11, and he's gonna play in exactly 156 league games. I wonder if they think that far ahead, or if they're just like after the 2006 season, they're like, oh, he's played 156 games, time to move him to another team. I don't know exactly how they do it, but I do have to give them a little bit of credit for. But even though I give them credit, I also don't like it because it's deceptive and they kill people for these rigged games, which I'll talk about more in a bit. But is that it on Arsenal and 9/11? One last thing about Arsenal and 9/11. Whoops, how do I? Sorry. Let's go to the 2010 to 11 Arsenal. Here it is. So Arsenal played a game like just hours before Osama bin Laden passed away, or he was killed, or at least we were told he was killed. And they beat Man United just like how they beat Man United to win the Premier League back in 2002. And Aaron Ramsey scored the only goal that game. And this was just to show you May 1st, 2011. Osama bin Laden dead May 2nd, 2011. And he was dead in the morning, early in the morning, like 2 a.m. in Pakistan. So he was, in most of the world, it was still May 1st. Yeah, it was probably maybe like 10 p.m. or something in England on May 1st when he died. But anyways, the point is Aaron Ramsey, 56th minute. We just talked about how big 56 was with 9/11, and remember Sylvain Wiltord scored the game-winning goal with 56 minutes on the clock. This one is in the 56th minute, and with Aaron Ramsey. Oh, okay. So check this out. How do I get to the schedule? Let's go to match results. Yeah. All right. So we talked about how this game here was 239 days after 9/11, which is the 52nd prime, and terrorist equals 52. Sorry, yeah, 52. This game here between Arsenal and Man United on May 1st, 2011. Let's do this. From Osama bin Laden's birthday, no, not 2001, 2011. That game was 52 days after Osama bin Laden's birthday. And again, terrorist 52. I wonder if does Man United mean anything? Man United 52. There you go. That makes a lot of sense. Again, they won the Premier League over Man United 239 days after 9/11, and then just hours before Osama bin Laden is killed, they beat him again 52 days after Osama bin Laden's birthday. And what was it again? Terrorist 52. Well, that's weird. Let's look at the. That is a weird match. Look at that. 142-52, 101. Terrorist and Man United match. That's so weird. I would never have thought of that. Does Manchester United equal anything? Manchester United is 179. That's the 41st prime. And 41 was a big number on 9/11. So I was on 41 date numerology. And then Manchester is 56. And yeah, 56th minute goal and a goal scored with 56 minutes on the clock. Are you serious, man? The level of mockery that the scriptwriters go through is just absurd. And hardly any of us see it. Was there anything else with... Okay, and yeah, one last thing about that. Just make sure, yeah, the 2000... Arsenal didn't get any more wins that year, but that was their 19th win of the season. 19 hijackers on 9/11. How many points did they have that year? Let's see, they had 68. So that means that was their 67th point of the season because they got a draw. There was something with 9/11 and 67, was it? Oh, Osama bin Laden's 67 years old right now, but I don't know what the 67 connection is at the top of my head with 9/11. It'll probably come to my mind later, but I can't think of it right now. Oh, and actually going back to this year, so that was how many points did Arsenal end up in 2002? They had 87. So that means they got their 84th point of the season. Okay, there's probably more to that as well, but anyways, I covered the main points about Arsenal and 9/11. That's oh 67. That's okay. I was just looking at my notes. Here we go. Here's the connection between 67 and 9/11. Osama bin Laden's dad died in 67. That's what it was. Okay. And I think did Civil War towards 68, not 67. Okay. Yeah, Osama bin Laden's dad dead in 67, and then right before Osama dies, Arsenal gets their 67th point of the season, with the only goal being scored in the 56th minute, 52 days after his birthday. Terrorist 52, Man United 52, Manchester 56. 56 was already a big number on 9/11. Man, I can believe it because I've known about this stuff for more than a few years now, but it's just like there's just so much mockery and so much deception and so much sacrifice. Yeah, and this game here, this Newcastle Arsenal 4-4 game, that was uh, this famous goal by Czech Tiote. I'd have to look into his death, but I'm sure his death was in no doubt not a coincidence. Oh, and the other thing with so I said what did I say? Arsenal ended up with 68 points that year. Yeah, Arsenal ended up with 68 points that year. The goal scorer of that game, Aaron Ramsey, 68. Okay. What else is there to talk about? All right, so we've talked about Arsenal, but now I wanted to talk a little bit more about this game that was today between Man City and Liverpool because did he mention here? Or maybe someone mentioned it. I can't remember, but again, Liverpool. Liverpool is 119. Liverpool is also 52. That's very interesting. Now, Liverpool is not in Champions League this year, but Man City, not to be confused with Man United, just played them, and they got their 119th Premier League draw against Liverpool, and on Osama bin Laden's birthday. And today is 83 days or 11 weeks and 6 days, and I talk about the significance of that in both of these videos here, which I guess I'll play a little bit later on. But anyways, Man City. Actually, no. What we're gonna do is we're gonna watch both of these videos because there's some interesting stuff here that I'll point out about Man City.
4. Former German soccer legend Franz Beckenbauer passed away at the age of 78. He spent most of his career playing for Bayern Munich, located in Bavaria, where the Illuminati is originally from. He died 1 month and 20 days after the anniversary of the death of Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati, and 1 month and 20 days before Bayern Munich's birthday. In Gematria, the practice of coding letters into numbers, Illuminati equals 120. He died 16 weeks and 3 days before Weishaupt's birthday. 163 is the 38th prime number, and murder and death.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop it right there for a second because now I'm gonna play a little bit from the video that I just made.
Less than 2 months after the death, the age at which he died. In summary, this is a clear sacrifice held in Germany 46. He died 16 weeks and 3 days before the opening match of the Euros, and 163 is the 38th prime, just like murder and death.
So you have Andreas Brema, I hope I said that right, did 16 weeks and 3 days before the first game of the Euros. And then you had Franz Beckenbauer, dead 16 weeks and 3 days before the birthday of the Illuminati. 163's 38th prime, murder, death. Um, Also today, um, football 83, murder is also 83, and today is 83 days before the Champions League final. So 11 weeks and 6 days, 116. Turn that upside down, that's 9/11, or mirror it, that's 9/11. Remember, the Mariners had 116 wins the year of 9/11, and the was it the I'm always for the Japanese American architect who designed the World Trade Center towers was from Seattle. Okay, what else is there? The anyways, 163. Why is that important? There's 163. Let's see, was it Man? No, it's not Man City. It's Manchester City, 163. And Man City is important because they are managed by Pep Guardiola, who used to manage Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich's not even their real name; it's Bayern München. But because English is the language of the world, they're known as Bayern Munich. And he used to coach Bayern, and we had the death of two former Bayern Munich players. And with Bayern, as I talked about earlier, so this game ended 1-1. We know 11 was a huge number on 9/11. And if I can find my right tab here, maybe oh, it's all the way over here. Last year, Bayern won their 11th consecutive Bundesliga title, but it looks like that's going to end this year. And it's funny that the Leverkusen is still undefeated in Bundesliga play. As far as I know, Arsenal was the last team to go undefeated in a major, in a, I guess we'd like call it top six soccer league in Europe. They did so back in 2004. And so that could happen. I mean, it looks like Bayern's not going to win it. I don't know if Leverkusen's going to go undefeated, but if they do, that would make sense, especially with all the Arsenal connections. And as I talk about definitely talked about it at the beginning of which video is this one? Here, let's go to this one actually.
Bayern's real name is.
So the full name of Bayern Fußball Club Bayern München, that equals 119, and that has because the Esset, that's that weird looking B, it sounds like a kind of like an SS or SZ. That's not a letter in English, so you wouldn't count that. And we don't have umlauts in English either, so you have the option to not count that U. And when you write that out, that equals 119. And anyways, I was also saying, so it looks like Bayern's 11 straight Premier League, or sorry, not Premier League, Bayern's 11 straight Bundesliga titles are going to end. And what's funny about 11 is that at the end of this video, or I can't even remember where I mentioned it, but actually let me just skip forward a little bit. Because I know I talked about it. There it is. The last time the Champions League final was held at Wembley Stadium, that was Bayern versus Dortmund. And they had Bayern win it, and I talked about the significance of that because
the Champions League final was held at Wembley Stadium. Bayern won it back in 2013. The game-winning goal was scored by Arjen Robben, who played in exactly 201 league matches with Bayern. This reminds us that
another joke, another sick joke. But yeah, anyways, the last time the Champions League final was at Wembley was 11 years ago, and it looks like Bayern's 11 consecutive Premier League titles, or not Premier League, I don't know why I keep saying that, 11 straight Bundesliga titles are going to end this year, and the team that might win the team that's likely going to win the Bundesliga might go undefeated. Like the last team of a major league to go undefeated was Arsenal, and Arsenal has all these 119 connections, and Arsenal has a good riddle to make the Champions League final. But so does Man City, so does Bayern Munich, and there is one more team that I want to point out, Dortmund. Now we're going to watch let me search Script Unveiled. We're going to watch Script Unveiled's latest video about a potential Dortmund narrative.
All right, welcome back. Today, we'll be looking at why Borussia Dortmund can make the Champions League final in Wembley. So without further ado, let's get right into it. This is the 69th edition of the European Cup. The Jesuit Order and Borussia Dortmund both sum to 69. The 2024 Champions League final will be exactly 201 days before Borussia Dortmund's foundation. The Jesuit Order, Order of Illuminati, and Champions League all sum to 201. And last but not least, the Illuminati was founded in Germany on 5/1, like 51. Erling Haaland joined 51-year-old Pep Guardiola.
And we just had Andreas Brema die on the 51st day of the year.
In a £51 million transfer deal from Borussia Dortmund. The 2024 Champions League final will be a span of 51 days before Haaland's birthday, and exactly 51 weeks after the 2023 Champions League final. Championship, United Kingdom. Nights of after the 2023 Champions
the
League
last
final.
one, okay.
Championship, United Kingdom. Knights of Malta, and Wembley Stadium, all sum to 51. So there you have it. This is why Borussia Dortmund can make the Champions League final in Wembley. Thank you for watching, and until next time.
Okay, we'll see. They do have a good riddle. I do also want to point out he talked about the Erling Haaland transfer from Dortmund to Man City, and Man City, as I said earlier, is managed by Pep Guardiola, who used to manage Bayern, and so that's a. We could be, as you see in my thumbnail. I mean, there's 4 teams. There's 2 from England, 2 from Germany. I've talked about all 4 of them in this video, but yeah, as he mentioned, I think it's Dortmund. Oops. That's Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, Borussia Dortmund 69, also 102. 102 is a big number in Andreas Brema's death. If I can find it here. Yeah, there's 11 weeks, 6 days. 116 is 9/11 upside down. Yeah, here it is. He died 102 days. Andreas Brema died 102 days before the Champions League final, which we already know is connected to Osama bin Laden. And 9/11 lasted for 102 minutes. So that is a potential riddle. That yeah, it's possible. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong video. Yeah, span of 103 days. Oh no, it's 107. Okay, I was getting my prime numbers mixed up. I think I pretty much covered all I wanted to cover. I talked about this game drawing 1-1 on Osama bin Laden's birthday, with Man City getting their 119th Premier League draw. Liverpool equals 119. And 83 days before the Champions League final, football equals 83. And then I talked about, did I get rid of the Premier League one? Maybe I got rid of it. But yeah, I talked about the significance of. Oh, and I guess one more thing is, actually, I do want to look at. Actually, I do want to look at Bayern because, yeah, yesterday that they won 8-1. I got Harry Kane had a hat trick. Yeah, 81. And what is it about Ritual 81? Yeah, the thing about Harry Kane, he scored in the game right after Franz Beckenbauer died, and he also scored in the game right after Andreas Brema died, and he scored in the 56th minute. Yep, here it is. First game after Andreas Brema dies, he scores in the 56th minute. 56 is like probably the main number in this video because what he died. Oh, he died 263 days before his birthday, which was on 11/9, which was also the day that the Berlin Wall fell in Germany. Oh, that's my 85th minute penalty kick, and we just had Arsenal score the game-winning goal from a German in the 85th minute. Or sorry, it was with 85 minutes on the clock, a span of 85 days before the Champions League final. Actually, I'm going to look at Kai Havertz. See if there's anything up with him. When's his birthday? Oh, and his birthday is what, 11/6? Are you serious? How did I not know that? So we have this German guy who plays in London, and you have Kai Havertz, a German, playing in London, and then you have an Englishman, Harry Kane, playing in Germany. They could. I don't know why they just swapped teams, but anyways, my point is that this guy's born on 116 or 611, and which is 9/11 upside down, and then he scores his game-winning goal 85 days before in the 85th minute. Sorry, 85 minutes on the clock, a span of 85 days before the Champions League final at Wembley, and Wembley equals 85, and on the 69th day of the year, how it was the day before Osama bin Laden's birthday, but most times Osama bin Laden's birthday is the 69th day of the year. Oh my God. And he started off at Leverkusen, who's likely going to win the Bundesliga this year. I said it right this time. What does his full name equal, I wonder? 185? Yeah, these pieces of shit have to go, man. 94, 94. Terror 94. Oh man. Yeah, he also he scored the game-winning goal in the Champions League final against Man City, right? Was it? Yeah, he scored the only goal that. Yeah, so he scored the when he was with Chelsea, he scored the game-winning goal of the Champions League final a few years ago against Man City. Where was that Champions League final held? It was in Porto. That's it. That's interesting. Okay, so we know this guy is connected. I mean, this guy's got connections. Wouldn't be surprised if they have a similar script to this thing right here. We know how they love to they let that meme that's let me just search the meme. The can I copy your homework meme? Here it is. Yeah, I feel like well, can I not see the meme? How do I actually see the meme? I guess we're just gonna have to look at the small view. But I feel like this right here, this is what they do with a lot of the scripts. They just from like year to year. Like I talked about a lot how the Rangers winning the World Series script was very similar to when the Giants won the World Series back in 2010. I feel like this is what they do. They say it's like, can I copy your homework? But yeah, just change it up a little bit so it doesn't look obvious. I feel like that's what they do with these scripts. They'll kind of reuse it, but then they'll just edit it a little bit so no one really is suspect. But we're watching out. We know what they're doing. See if anyone has said anything in the chat. Been going on for 41 minutes. I think that's a good number to end it on. We already talked about 41 and the importance of that number with everything that's going on. I think I don't want to pull up the page again. I have too many tabs open, but I don't know. I've been talking for too long. I think it's, and I'll end the stream here.